Welcome back everyone, I am Shoptaporni from BioLive. Hope all of you are doing very well. So in today's video, we are going to discuss about the general process of succession. So in my previous video, I have discussed about what is succession and what are primary and secondary succession with examples. Okay, here also I am going to discuss it in brief, but if you want the full video, you must visit the previous video. I will give the link below in the description box and also at the end of this video. Okay, you may watch it out. So before beginning, I would like to request you to kindly subscribe to my channel for more such videos, and if you are new to my channel, please subscribe, and if you find this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. Okay, so without further delay, let's begin. See, what is succession? Succession is the gradual or continuous directional change in the community structure of a given land or a given area, okay, over a long period of time. So here time is very important. Succession occurs over a long period of time, okay. So it is the temporal change in a community structure, of a given area, okay. So with time, how an area gets changed in terms of their community structure, that phenomenon is known as succession, okay. Now succession can be of two types, primary and secondary succession. When succession occurs or starts on a bare land or on a newly exposed land which is devoid of any organic matter, that means that land have never supported any kind of community before, then that type of succession is called primary succession. And you must remember that the seer of primary succession is known as pre-seer, okay. So what could be the example of those lands on which primary succession can occur, like bare rocks, lava flows, sand dunes, newly exposed surface after the glacial retreat, etc. Okay. Now coming to the secondary succession. Secondary succession begins on an area which have previously occupied by different communities but now got divided of vegetation due to any natural or anthropogenic disturbances. Okay. So what could be the example of secondary succession, okay, or the land on which secondary succession can occur, like abundant cropland, okay. Say there was a forest and you have cut down all the trees for making it an agricultural land, then you have abandoned that land. So it is the anthropogenic disturbances that caused the forest to convert into an abundant cropland. So here the secondary succession can occur. Then areas hit by tsunami or any kind of storm, etc., tornado, etc., burnt over forest, okay. Say there was a forest fire and all the forest is now destructed, okay. So after that, when the new species arrive on that burnt over forest, then secondary succession begins, okay. And you must remember that secondary succession is more common in nature and generally faster. Why faster? Because the land on which the secondary succession is going to begin have already supported some kind of life, okay, or some kind of communities there. So it is more richer in organic substance than the primary succession land, okay. That is why the secondary succession is generally faster. And you have to remember that the seer of secondary succession is called subseer. Now coming into the general process of succession, and here I will discuss the process of succession both for primary and secondary succession, okay. Now see, there are four steps or four in this process of succession, okay. The first step is nudation. What does the word nudation means? Nude means bare, okay. So development of any bare area without any form of life is known as nudation. In primary succession, different kinds of topographic changes and climatic changes may cause the development of newly exposed area or bare area. Like what are the topographic changes? Say the volcanic lava flow, okay, the volcano eruption and subsequent lava flow, and then formation of sand dunes. These are the topographic changes on which the primary succession can occur. And the climatic change, like exposure of new land after glacial retreat, okay, this is the climatic change, and on this land the primary succession can occur. Now what are the secondary succession nudation process in secondary succession? Like due to climatic changes like forest fire, tsunami, hailstorm, frost, landslide, etc., when the land becomes disturbed or the land becomes a disturbed patch, then on that secondary succession can occur. Or due to some anthropogenic or biotic reason like destruction of forest for agricultural land or industry, and then abandoning the forest or abandoning that agricultural land, okay, or that land, and then for like biotic factor, any disease epidemics, development of disease epidemics, and removal of all the community from a land, and then the succession on that land, okay, that kind of nudation occurs in secondary succession, okay. So now after nudation, after getting a bare land, obviously the land will not remain bare for a longer period of time, then some kind of species will invade there. So the second process in succession is invasion, where successful establishment of a species, that is pioneer species, occurs in that bared area. Okay, so these species, the first species that enter or invade the bared area is known as pioneer species. Okay, now in this invasion process there are three sub-steps. Like first one is migration or dispersal. Okay, see, in case of primary succession, you will see that seeds, spores or different propagules of pioneer species gets dispersed or migrates from nearby communities to the bared area. Okay, and in case of secondary succession, you will see that though the land is now disturbed, but under the soil you can see some dormant seeds are there, okay, that may reappear, or in the disturbed patch there may be some resistant eggs or larvae that may reappear as pioneer species, or along with that some spores or seeds may migrate from nearby undisturbed land and may function as pioneer species there. Okay, then a very important term for you, that is ekesis or establishment. After migrating to the bare land, the spore or the seed needs to be established there. Okay, so the successful establishment of the pioneer species as a result of adjustment to the prevailing harsh condition of the barren land is known as ekesis. You have to remember that in case of primary or secondary succession, the land is very harsh in condition. Okay, the environmental condition is very hard, so to get established there, to germinate there, and then to grow there and to reproduce there, the pioneer species needs to be get adjusted there. So pioneer species are very important, and pioneer species possess special life history traits that helps them to adapt with that harsh environment of the barren land. Okay, now after that, the third sub-step of invasion is the aggregation of pioneer species. Okay, so as a result of reproduction, the pioneer species increases in population size and then they aggregate on the newly exposed land or the disturbed patch or the bare land. Okay, now the third step of succession is coaction and reaction. You have to understand this very carefully. What is coaction and what is reaction? See, coaction is the interaction within a community of living organism. Here, the effect of organism on organism occurs. Okay, so in a community, how does one individual affect another individual is termed as coaction. Okay, so see, it can be of two types. One is competitive coaction and another one is non-competitive coaction. Competitive coaction means competition for light or space. Okay, the non-competitive coaction means it is beneficial coaction, where one individual helps another individual to survive in that community. Okay, so coaction is the effect of organism on another organism, and it could be competitive or non-competitive. Now let's talk about reaction. Reaction is the modification of prevailing environment through the influence of living organism on it. So reaction is the influence of living organism on the prevailing environment of that community. Okay, so here the environment changes due to the presence of organism living in that environment. Okay, so how the environment may get changed? So there may be changes in soil structure, light penetrance or moisture availability. Say there was a barren land and now the annual herbs are there. Okay, so at the first there was no organic matter in that land, in that barren land, but now the annual herbs have grown there as pioneer species. So when these pioneer species will get dead and they will decay, the soil will get enriched with their dead and decaying matter, and nutritional availability in the soil will get increased. As a result, the soil texture will get changed. Okay, so here the organism changing the environment. Okay, and as a result, you have to remember that these modification in environment leads to the unsuitability of the existing community to live there. Okay, and it makes the environment suitable for the next seedal stage or next community, and the previous community gradually gets replaced by the next one. Okay, when annual herbs are getting dead and decayed, the nutritional availability in the soil is getting changed, which is useful for next community, that is perennial herbs or shrubs. Okay, but it is making unsuitable the soil for the annual herbs or the pioneer species. So through the reaction, the previous species becomes unsuitable to live in that condition, but it helps the next species to invade there. Okay, got it? So through the process of competitive coaction and reaction, the pioneer species gets replaced by the next seedal stages, and this competitive coaction and reaction continues, and this seedal stage gets replaced by next seedal stage, and the process continues till the climax species appears. Okay. Now here you have understand the you have heard about two terms. One is sear and another one is seedal stages. So what is sear? Sear is the entire story that begins from a bare land and ends to a climax species. Okay, so sear is the entire story. Say there was a bare land, then pioneer species came, then different intermediate seedal stages were there, and then ultimately climax stage came. Okay, so this entire story is known as sear. And what is seedal stage? individual community or in this seer at different time points is known as seedal stage. Say this is the pioneer species. Okay, so it is a seedal stage. Then this intermediate species is a seedal stage. Okay, so at different times, whatever community are present in this seer or in this sequence those are known as seedal stages. Okay, seedal stages are actually various communities that exist at different time points in a seer. Okay, got it? Now the fourth step in the successional process is stabilization or climax. Okay, so from barren land to pioneer species and through different intermediate seedal stages, a terminal community comes. Okay, which cannot be replaced by any other community. So climax stage or climax species or climax community is such a community which cannot be replaced by any other community or any other next seedal stage. So it is the last stage in any kind of successional process. It could be primary or secondary. Okay, so you have to remember that this terminal community becomes more or less stabilized for a longer period of time. So they are more or less stabilized and they can sustain there for a longer period of time. Why? Because they can maintain itself in equilibrium with the climate of that area, okay, without getting replaced by another species or another community. Okay, so they are very stable and they are longer living individuals, and they can very easily adapt to that climate and maintain that adaptation so that no other species can remove them from there. Okay, so that is why they are the last stage or climax stage or known as climax community. Got it? So this final community is known as climax community. So now understand this with a very easy example. Say this is a seer. Seer is the whole story. Okay, so there was a bare land or disturbed patch. In case of primary succession, this is a bare land. In case of secondary succession, this is a disturbed patch. Okay, which where harsh environment condition prevails. So here first annual herbs invade. So annual herbs are the pioneer species which have all the life history characteristics available for invading this harsh environmental condition of bare land or disturbed patch. Okay. Then these annual herbs gets replaced by perennial herbs, then they gets replaced by shrubs, and ultimately they gets replaced by light tolerant trees. Okay, so these are the intermediate seedal stages. Now we have to remember that the light tolerant trees are not always tall. First of all, they were short. Okay, then they get taller, and when they get taller, when they get taller, they becomes the climax stage here. And tall tree, which are light tolerant trees, with their canopy support the understory trees which are shade tolerant. Okay, and as a result, a climax stage is formed. So at the climax stage, we will find some tall trees, okay, which are very light tolerant, and under those tall trees there are understory trees. Okay, some shrubs could be there, okay, which are generally shade tolerant, and all of these forms the climax stage, which is very stable and which remains in equilibrium with the climate of that particular space, and time flows from here to here. Okay, time is increasing from here to here, and each community in this seer is known as seedal stages, different seedal stages, and this whole story or whole sequence is known as seer. Okay, in case of primary succession, the seer is known as priseer, and in case of secondary succession, the seer is called subseer. Okay, got it? So I hope the 4 steps, nudation, invasion, then coaction and reaction, and ultimately stabilization or climax of successional process in case of primary and secondary succession is now clear in your mind. If you have any doubt, you can comment down below in the comment section. I will answer that. And if you find this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends. And please subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching and happy learning.